is borrowing. And in Arabic, this is known as al-qard. And borrowing is to borrow something so that you can use it for a while and then return it as it is or as it was, intact, on the designated time for returning it. And this is done free of charge. And this is why they call it قروض الإحسان or عقود الإحسان, meaning that those doing it, they're doing it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, for the sake of being kind to one another. It's like when I'm telling you, Akhi, can you open the door for me? I'm carrying something that is a little bit heavy. You would definitely do that. No one would say, okay, how much are you gonna pay me so that I open the door for you? Excuse me. Nobody does this. So عقود الإرفاق أو عقود الإحسان, this is something that people do to be kind to one another. And when it comes to borrowing, there are pillars. So there's the lender, there is the borrower, and there is also what is being borrowed. So as for the lender, he has to be what is described in fiqh as جائز التصرف. And there is a difference between جائز التصرف and جائز التبرع. So what's the difference between those? In the first, جائز التصرف, he's a person authorized to deal with the money under his control or with the wealth under his control, but not to give it out or to give it away. While جائز التبرع is a person who's permitted to give and donate in charity or as a gift. So if, for example, I'm the guardian of orphans, I have nephews of mine and nieces, their father died, they are orphans, I'm in charge of their wealth. What my brother left, I'm in charge of it. So can I sell and buy? Yes, I can sell and buy, not for my own benefit, rather for the benefit of the wealth. So he left a building that is quite old, and the area nobody is interested of renting it except low-class people. So I sell it if I got a good price for it, and I buy something new in a better residential area where the income would double. Am I authorized to do this? Definitely. Then I am جائز التصرف. I am authorized to deal. But when it comes to lending money, someone comes and says, Sheikh, I need 500,000 euros to go into an investment, and I'll return it to you in a year's time. And it's a good investment. The man is my friend. He wants a loan. So I take from my nephews and nieces money and give it to him instead of it sitting idle in the bank. No, this is haram. This is not permissible. Why? I'm the guardian. You're the guardian to deal in what is authorized for you. But you do not have the authority to give something away. And lending money to someone is like giving it away. You're not sure it's going to come back to you. So in this case, it is haram for you. So, condition number one, the lender has to be جائز التبرع. It should be your own money. You're entitled to donate it, to give it away, to lend it to someone. It's your own money. Nobody will hold you accountable for that. And of course, among the other conditions, as mentioned in the first condition, that the borrower and the person lending the article should be qualified. So they should all be qualified in the sense that they are adult, sane, rational, and capable of dealing with their money. So the issue of borrowing is not an easy issue that anyone could do. There are conditions for it, there are sets of rules governing it, and the books of fiqh talked about this in details, which we don't have the opportunity to do. But lending is something that is praised in Islam. And a lot of us fail to see how great investment lending money is. There is an authentic hadith where the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, lending an amount of silver, meaning money, is equivalent to giving charity of half of it. So I have 1,000 euros. Someone asks me for a loan. I give it to him. And we have the set date of returning this loan of a month. After 1 month, he comes back and gives me the money. So the 1,000 euros are in my possession. The Prophet tells us, as 500 of those are registered at the side of Allah as charity. Charity, and I have the money back in my hands. Yes. Now I gave him a set date of a month. The hadith goes on to say, if the second appointment was not fulfilled, meaning after a month he came and back and said, Wallahi, sorry, the 1,000 euros, I don't have money at the moment. Can you give me another 2 weeks and I'll give it back to you, inshallah? Sure, akhi, no problem. The Prophet says, alayhi salam, for every day of these 2 weeks, the new extension, Allah would register for me the charity of 1,000 euros per day. So meaning when I give him an extension of 2 weeks, this is equivalent to 1,400 euros. No, let me rephrase that. 14,000 euros charity. And after 2 weeks, I get the money in my hand. Whoa! What return of investment can we get? Where can we get something like this in this world? Not only that, in another hadith, the Prophet says, after this extension, so 1 month he could not pay, then asked for 2 weeks more, and he could not deliver. So he came, Wallahi, I don't have money. Can you just spare me some time and I will hopefully try to gather it for you? And I said, no problem, akhi. Take your time. The Prophet says, for every day, every single day after the second extension, the Prophet says, alayhi, you are awarded double the amount. So first, you have 500 euros for 1 month. When he asks for another extension of 2 weeks, you have 1,000 euros a day as charity for 2 weeks. So that's 14,000 for the 2 weeks and 500 for the first month. Now for every day extended in that he does not deliver, this is 2,000 euros for you. Wallahi, you will never find anything that is this profitable in this world to invest. And the beautiful thing is, at the end of the day, you will get your money back and it's in your bank account. So lending is something that Islam recommends. It's something that is halal. Allah Azza wa Jal says, and cooperate in righteousness and piety in Surah Al-Ma'idah chapter 5. So وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. This is part of cooperation. I need money to pay something that I have need for, and I need someone to lend me. I don't have it cash on me. And this was done by the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet borrowed once from Safwan ibn Umayyah some shields so that the Muslims would fight and use when they went to the battle of Hunayn in Taif. So the Prophet ﷺ borrowed that from him. He also borrowed a horse from Abu Talha. He borrowed a sa' of barley from a Jew, as we mentioned last class, and he gave the Jew his own shield as a pawn. So the issue of lending and borrowing is an issue that is well known and well established in Islam. And when we come to the conditions of borrowing, so the first condition is mentioned clearly: the borrower and the person lending the article should be qualified, and we talked about that. The second condition, the borrowed article should be usable for lawful purposes. So this is something that most people should know by now, that you cannot lend something that is to be used in haram. So if someone says to you, Akhi, there is a beautiful movie I'd like to watch and my DVD is broken, so can I borrow your DVD? Says, yeah, sure, no problem. Nope, such borrowing is haram. It's sinful for you to give such a loan or something to be borrowed. If someone says, I like your golden cups which you keep for decoration, and I need one to drink my milk in, and you know that this is haram. Someone wants to borrow your dog. Keeping a dog is haram, so taking it and borrowing it is haram. So the product that you are going to lend people must be halal in its nature and halal in its use. So you can lend someone a TV screen. It can be used in halal and can be used haram. But if he tells you that he's going to use it for haram, then definitely this is not permissible for you to give it to him. And the borrowed article should remain intact after using. So being a borrowed article, when you get it back, it has to be intact. And things and items are divided in fiqh into two types. We call it mithli, which means that it is almost identical or a replica, and qimi or qiyami, which means that the value and the cost of it. So if we have a kilogram of dates, and the type of dates is specified, we have a type known as sukkari. So if I borrow from you 1 kilogram of dates, so that I'll bring it back to you next week, do you think I'm going to take this dates and put it in the cupboard or in the fridge, or am I going to consume it? Definitely going to consume it. So when I return the dates back to you, you're not going to say, oh, there's a specific date that I had a mark on. Where is it? No. You get something similar to it. If I borrow 1,000 euros from you and I return it back to you, it is mithli. So these are 1,000 euros. Yeah, but I gave you my 1,000 euros in hundreds. Why are you bringing it back in tens? It doesn't make any difference because it's 1,000 and 1,000. And there is something known as qiyami, meaning if I borrow your, let's say, mobile, and the mobile is busted, it's broken, it's lost, it's damaged, do you insist on having the identical phone, or the cost of it? So insurance companies, when you damage your car beyond repair, they will not buy you a similar car, same model, close in shape. They will give you the cost of your car according to its condition and according to the model or the year. So these are the two things that scholars differentiate. If you borrow food, the product is consumable. How are you going to return it back? There has to be something mithli of it. So if it's a 5 kilograms of wheat, you will bring the same standard or level or quality of wheat in 5 kilograms as such. And this is extremely important because quantifying and describing the things that you have borrowed is important, so that we know that you can return it. Example, Akhi, can I borrow one of your mobiles? I said, sure, go in the drawer, there are 10 of them, pick one. So I go and pick one and leave, and I lose it. So I come back to him and I said, well, I lost your mobile. So I said, okay, what maker did you lose? So I don't know, I didn't see it. So I don't know even what you took. No, this is too ambiguous. You have to have knowledge of the product being lent, so, and the quantity, the weight, the description, so that when you return it, it would be known by its description. And of course, it is highly recommended that you either have 2 witnesses or you have it written down. Allah mentioned in the longest ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, the ayah of the debt, of the loan, which indicates that this is something that has great significance in Islam. O you who believe, whenever you borrow something, register it. So it is highly recommended, and I don't say it's mandatory, though the instruction is an order, because the following ayah stipulates that if one of you trusts the other, then it's okay. But generally speaking, it is not recommended to have a loan without a proof, a document written, or the presence of 2 male witnesses. People forget. People get old. And sometimes people are crooks and thieves, and they will take your money, and they will challenge you to bring your proof, which you don't have. So you will feel the pain of being betrayed. And this is why Islam says, better safe than sorry. Get it written down. However, a lot of the people are offended when you tell them, can you please write a document stating that you borrowed 10,000 euros from me? So, you don't trust me? You want me to write something? I'm offended. For such people who pretend to be offended, you can kick them out of the door, because they are thieves. those who refuse to execute what Allah Azza wa Jal has told us in the Quran and pretend to be offended, most likely, they will betray you. And this is why there is a hadith that Shaykh al-Albani authenticated and other scholars regarded it as weak, which says that there are 3 people whom Allah Azza wa Jal would not answer their dua. One of them is a person who had a bad, rude, arrogant wife. The second, and he did not divorce her. The second one is someone who had an irrational person under his control, and he gave him his wealth and he wasted it. And the third one is a person who lent someone money and did not take any proof against that person, and you know what such a person would do. So the Prophet says that these 3 people, Allah will not answer their dua. And this was a shock for a lot, because said, why? If I am patient and tolerating my rude and arrogant wife, Allah would reward me for not answering my dua? The scholars say no, this is related to the dua you make against that person. So yes, you're tolerant, you're patient with such a wife, and every night they make dua, may Allah curse her, may Allah take her life, may Allah do this. Allah will not respond to your dua, because you had the remedy for such problems is by divorcing her. If all roads are closed and there's no way of reconciliation or trying to fix her attitude, divorce her, and you did not. Then Allah would not answer your dua when you do dua against her. Likewise, the irrational man who wasted your money, and likewise the man who borrowed and did not return your money, when you make dua against them, it's your fault. Why didn't you take proof when he borrowed money from you? So Allah would not respond to your dua against him. But again, some scholars say that this hadith is not authentic, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Also, one of the things that it is important for us to know is that al-qardu halun walau ajjalah. When I give someone money, this is kindness of me. I've lent him money because I am kind. I'm a good Muslim. However, if I gave him an ultimatum to return the money in a month's time, this is not binding for me as a lender, because the money is mine. And let's assume I gave you 10,000 euros and you went and we agreed that you would return it in a month's time, only to be surprised after 1 week that I'm calling you and saying, Akhi, I need the 10,000 euros today. Do I have the right to do this? The answer, according to the majority of scholars, is yes. Because this is my hard-earned money. And I was doing you a favor. I thought that I could do without this money for a month, but all of a sudden something important came up. I have to pay the children's school fees. I did not put that in mind. So I'm asking for my money. You have no right in saying that, tough luck, man. I have like 3 weeks before I have to, and I'm obliged to give you the money. No, this is wrong. You're obliged to give him the money immediately, as it is his. And there are so many other topics and issues, but لعله, inshallah, we will stop here.